I'll be very fast. Research shows that young people tend to only concentrate for 7 to 10 minutes. So I will not exceed 7 minutes. I'll be very fast. As I've said, I'm Watson Wambugu. I'm a media professional by training and also a software developer, an entrepreneur. I'm also a youth leader in Fort Kenya. I will summarize what I do in our company. It's a Chinese company with a video here of just 1 minute. So in short, we do virtual reality games. I work with that company that provide those services and products. So I will come to that later when I combine what I do with the idea of tech and democracy. I will come to that later. So my presentation is about digital tools in democracy, making tech future-proof, and aligning tech with democracy. As sorry for that. So as you can see, I hope all of you can see, digital tools in democracy and future-proofing. Future-proofing is basically to ensure that technologies that we are coming up with, we're able to align them so that we can continue democratizing our countries and our operations. There is the importance of digital tools in democracy. Number one is enhancing transparency and public scrutiny. This research has been done by an organization in the US. It might not resonate with us so much, but I believe it's relevant, that 70% of people believe in technology plays a key role in the democratic participation. Then the key concepts when in our topic is about e-government. We have e-voting and i-voting. We have digital public participation and cybersecurity. So I want to discuss about the case studies we have here in Kenya of about application of digital tools. Application of digital tools in democracy. We have some examples, although they may not have been successful fully. They are an indicator of how we can apply these tools in ensuring that we democratize our republic. Number one is Huduma number. It had legal challenges, but it was an attempt of democratizing. We have Ushahidi platform. It's a crisis mapping tool. This one was established in 2008 post-election violence to ensure that individuals can create content, or rather what we call content generation. Then we have, all of us knows about mobile money, M-Pesa. This is about financial inclusion. I believe even the marginalized communities are able to access funds through M-Pesa. We have e-citizen. Everyone here can access e-citizen when you're applying for your passports, when applying for birth certificates and marriage certificates and many other services. We have digital voting pilots. These are just pilots which are continuing. Then we have social media platforms in Kenya. I believe you all know about Kenyans on Twitter. Probably in Africa you're leading in terms of advocacy and communicating your issues to your leaders. So that is an achievement. Then we have the trends in digital democracy. We have AI integration in decision making. All of us knows about things like ChatGPT. These are language models. Language, they are used to generate through training, to generate information. We have blockchain. This is a kind of a database where you can store information about probably voters and they're able to vote without challenges. We have mobile voting. This increase accessibility. Our friend here talked about i-voting, which is almost similar. And then we have virtual town halls. That is where we relate with where I work and the idea of virtual town halls. These are happening. We can have virtual meetings happening and we are able to discuss as publics about the things that affect us. We have data analytics. They can inform policy making in matters democracy and elections. We have global collaboration. We'll talk about those shared best practices later. Then we have AR and VR in digital democracy. It helps, as I had said earlier, it helps in decision making because of data-driven insights. You're able to generate data that give you information which probably human beings will generate, will not be able to generate error-free. Then we have AI for cyber security. It is easier to detect threats probably in elections processes. Then we have VR for public engagement, where we have immersive town halls. We'll continue then to talk about AR for voting systems, and VR for policy simulations. You're able to simulate policies and see if they work. Then this is where we can apply virtual reality, what we do in our company. I'm not sure whether anyone here has experienced those virtual reality games. Anyone? Okay, virtual reality games. It's kind of a simulation where you enter and you vibrate, you feel like you are experiencing what happens in reality. You put a headset. I believe you can see that online. You feel like probably it's a roller coaster. Do you know that? Roller coaster is you feel like you're moving up and down. You can't lie. I think I have seen several of those machines into rivers and probably 1 or 2 malls in Kenya. There are not many, but this is something that we can apply. So this is a debate in the US. I'm giving an example of which some of us will say we are still not decolonized. We are still using US examples. But this is just an example. It is a debate. So instead of seeing this, when you're using VR machine, you can see like that. The guy appear like he's in that meeting, but he's not. It's just because you have that headset, it creates an illusion or imagination that you're in that meeting. So it helps you, for example, it helps young people to be captivated and maybe attracted to listen to those debates, because very few people listen to these debates even if they are happening. So that is what VR can help. For example, if we have such a meeting, it is very easy for you to be at home and experience like you're here. Is that clear? So far, do you have a question? I know this is a bit technical, but I'll be fast because of time. I like keeping time. Then we have challenges in digital democracy. We have issues like cybersecurity threats. This is a challenge. We have actually most of this information is repetitive. We have issues like digital divide. We have gender, rural-urban divide. We have issues like fake news. But fake news we can, of course, address with issues. We have websites that are that can be used for fact-checking. I'm not sure if any one of you here has tried to use the information that is trending, whether it's true, by using those websites. There are many of them, and I believe after this probably we can try them. We have issues like privacy concerns because our data is used. Then we have resistance to change. Then we'll go to best practices for implementing digital democracy. I'm being fast because I understand we are young people. We are able to understand faster. So we can focus on planning and strategy, creating public awareness of those tools, how to use them well. We have issues developing our infrastructure and technology. We have privacy and data protection. We have what we call stakeholder engagement, where you ensure that citizens and relevant parties are involved in integration of these tools in our democratization process. Then we have what we call continuous improvement. I heard there's someone who asked how voting ensures there are no hacking, the election process is not halted because probably there was a hacking. Most of us have experienced e-citizen going down because of probably issues like hacking. But a good system should always have a backup system, an alternative, so that you will not stop an election. If an election is ongoing and there is a hacking, You should be able to collaborate in what you call PPP, public-private partnership. You partner with people who are maybe not in Kenya. You partner in ensuring you can easily detect any kind of phishing, what you call DOS, denial of services and such related things. So you ensure that you continually monitor. Maybe after a week, I believe all of us have experienced maybe banks telling you we are down from this time to that time. You understand? So that is what we call continuous monitoring. You evaluate to ensure that there is no kind of attack that might happen. Then in conclusion, we can say digital tools are here to help us in ensuring there is transparency and engagement. Most of you are on X, and it is a good example of how we can use digital tools to ensure that democracy is upheld, be it in election time. I believe this is a country that I don't think we fear anyone. You can, if it's a president, you'll talk about him. You can share anything about him. If it's who, you can talk about them. So we are at an advantage, something that we always ignore. We always tend to assume that Kenya is in a bad position, of which we are way ahead of some of our African brothers. And finally, future directions. We need to embrace AI, VR, and emerging tech. I believe tech is the only area you can do your own learning. You don't need anyone to teach you. There are a lot of online courses, a lot of materials that can help you to study. And you can get even a job without those certifications that are required in many other fields. So call to action is we implement and advocate for digital democracy. Technology is here to stay. This is not something that we can resist. So we'll go for Q&A. 1 or 2 questions because of time.
Thank you very much. My name is Joshua Letepa Shunkur, and my question goes this way. Remember, I come from Narok, where Masai Mara is my residence, and also Mau Forest is part of me. While you are talking, or while you are speaking to us, before you started the conversation, the presentation, there's a video you played. And in the video, I could hear some sound. And like I told you, I come from the areas of the forest. The voices look like those of a monkey, a monkey kid, or a monkey baby. So I could not understand the video, what it is actually demonstrating or communicating. I simply mean the video is not disability friendly. What are you doing to ensure that these things that you're doing, like those kinds, you communicate to us also, and you also communicate to the deaf, maybe through sign language? Yeah, thank you.
We are on the edge of technology, and being that we practice democracy, we've experienced some of the electoral issues and aspect of hacking and irregularities. There's a guy who was trying to tell me there's something called blockchain that when used or incorporated in the system, it will support the fairness and the credibility of election. So as a practitioner, what do you think of that, and how have you fast-tracked this to be a reality to the Kenyan system?
My question is regarding the digital divide. While using technology to enhance civic engagement, how do you reach the rural communities? In Kenya, for instance, 70% of the population is in the rural, and many may not have access to smartphones. And even if they do, the cost of access to data that can enhance digital participation. So does digital participation then can lead to a situation where you leave those who are not in the digitally connected behind? And how does that reconcile with using technology to enhance participation rather than reduce?
Thank you. So to my brother, about issue of disability or people who are enabled differently. That is why I prefer to call them, because they have their own abilities. We have what you call access guidelines worldwide. They provide guidelines on how probably to ensure that your websites, your design is oriented towards people that may not be able to access in the normal way. So through those guidelines, for example, in our company, I understand there was a challenge here with the video because I access it via YouTube. But we have come up with strategies of ensuring maybe if you go to our website, there's a screen that reads for you. It's a kind of your reading, it's a screen reader. So you can click using your hands. If it's a touch screen, then you can easily hear from it what it is going on in that website. In our case here, it was a video illustration of what our company generates, which is VR games. These are virtual reality games. And I was explaining how they can help us even to engage in democratic issues. So those are people who are enjoying. You feel like when you're in that machine, it's a simulator. It's a kind of a simulator. You enter and then you feel the vibrations. So if you turn left, the machine will turn left, and you feel like you're probably driving, you're probably riding, you feel the effect. It's an emotional thing. It's an illusion of you experiencing things in real life. So I believe I've answered that. We have issue of accessibility, we have guidelines, we have screen readers. We also ensure that we provide support. Chatbot. We have chatbots that you can easily talk to them. It's a kind of voice to text. So you can talk, it will translate to text. And so we can get, if it's a question, if it's an order you're placing, we can translate, we can move that from audio to text. The other question about blockchain. Blockchain is a kind of database. It's a kind of a database. That is why guys who are in crypto here, I believe there are people who are in crypto. You're able to trade. That is what keep records. So in the future, when we will have digitized everything in our government, in our republic, we will be able to store every information in that database. And no one can easily tamper with it. Because it's for example, things like crypto. There is always a controversy of who came up with it. You understand? Who came up with Bitcoin? You see, there is always a controversy. So there's no ownership. A government cannot claim over ownership of the blockchain because it's a global thing, just like no one can claim ownership of the internet. You understand? Then we have things like digital divide. I believe the government is trying, and I will talk from a technological perspective. We have anyone who knows Starlink? Starlink? Great. Starlink is a company from X. It's their siblings. They are corporate siblings with X, their previous Twitter. It's a company owned by Elon Musk. It's enabling people even in rural areas to access the internet. Where the C cables, I believe most of you understood that there was an internet issues because we had internet C cables zilikuwa zimekatika. But with Starlink, now you are able to access it with cloud. Although it's in beginning stages, so it's a bit expensive. For example, a Starlink package, the minimum would be 6,500. I understand that is a challenge, but there is what we call the cloud. Through Starlink, you're able to access the internet even in the rural areas. So I believe I've answered your question. Although there might be challenges of finances, but I believe we are just progressing. Progressively, we'll be able to reach there. Thank you.
A round of applause for Watson.